Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the rematch. A lot of you guys are excited about the new MacBook Airs with the M2, and many of you mentioned in the comment section on my last Drain Test about some curiosity that aroused in terms of low power mode and how it affects the M1 versus the M2. The M2 has shown that it has better performance and battery health, which is to be expected. But how does low power mode affect both of these? It's honestly a fair question to ask, because to be quite honest, a lot of people, myself included, turn on low power mode to conserve battery all the time. I do it regularly when I'm on campus, especially when you're unsure if you'll be able to get to a charger on time. So in today's rematch, we give my battery drain test a small twist. We give the base M1 Air and the base M2 Air some tech PEDs, if you will, and run the same battery drain test as before, only this time with a peculiar factor thrown into the mix. Guys, this was yet again a nail biter, so definitely make sure to grab a drink, grab some snacks, and get ready, as both of these run it back. This is going to be a good one. Alright, without question though, I do have to say this. I would highly advise, if you haven't already, watch the original bout without low power mode that I uploaded just a few days ago. I'll put a card at the top right and also include the video link in the description. I always love to take you guys' concerns and video ideas into consideration. This will be my first time running a battery drain test on low power mode, but there's always a first time for everything, and you guys asked for it, so I'm bringing it to you. Alright guys, take a quick look at the technical specifications of both machines. We won't spend much time on this, as I'm sure you guys are fully aware of the rules and how my battery drain tests work. All same settings, same network, same brightness, all that jazz, and once again, here's the official tale of the tape. It's literally the exact same specs from last time. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. But before we do, let's quickly get both of these on their steroids, low power mode turned on. And now it's go time. Here we go. Round number one. The challenger in the pink, the champion in midnight. So as is customary, we have to give these guys a similar treatment as last test. So all the tests are the same here, but what I'm interested in, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are, is how well does low power mode assist in conserving battery? Is it a big difference between the M1 or M2, or can we expect similar results as last time? Obviously, we expect these two to last longer than when not on low power mode, but will the gap widen with it on? Guess you'll have to wait until the end to find out. But same as before, for test 1, we let these two computers sit idle. Consider it their warm-up round. We did this for roughly 60 minutes, and after a whole hour, we have some pretty impressive results. The M1 fared far better than before, thanks to its tech steroids, as it only slid 1% down to 99. But man, the M2 Air is really flexing its specs, as it didn't drop a single point. It still stands at 100%, but will these results hold up for long? Let's find out as we now enter round number 2. For this one, I had to catch my girlfriend before work to help me with the Facetime test, but similar to before, we spent 15 minutes on each computer over Facetime, as I feel that's a pretty average time frame for your typical Facetime call. I always love FaceTiming on Macs because you can be talking to a significant other, friend, or parent while also doing other stuff on your MacBook. So after each MacBook got their turn on FaceTime, we can see the M1 Air in pink now slides to 94%. Still very impressive, but the M2 once again is coming out guns blazing, as it amazingly only drops down to 98%. Pretty insane, TBH. Alright, this test for round number 3 will really test both of these computers and will give us a good indication at whether low power mode will make a big difference in the long run. It's our classic multitasking test, as I'm sure many of you do as well. It's not uncommon to have Apple Music, maybe a productivity application like iMovie or Logic pulled up, some other stuff going on behind the scenes, you get it. So as before, we open Thinkorswim to track Tesla's current stock price movement and then layer on from there. This time I was more in a Slipknot vibe, so we also layer on Apple Music, then Adobe Photoshop, open up a few Chrome tabs, and heck, let's even open up Final Cut Pro and export a video real quick. The main aim for this test is to really get these guys to crank things up into high gear and strain those processors to see which computer can handle a variety of tasks all at once, at least in terms of battery. To my surprise, they held up quite well after a couple of hours despite everything we put them through. The M1 Air comes in at a very modest 73%, but thanks to the efficiency cores of the M2, it seems like it was a walk in the park for it, as it only comes down to a more respectable 78%. Now, heading on into round number 4. And as always, this is my opportunity to get stuff done in my day. Run some errands, hit the gym, because with all the other tests, I'm basically forced to babysit MacBooks for extended hours, more so than your typical daycare. And on that note, it would mean the world to me if you could click that like button. It helps my channel out a lot, helps this video reach more eyes, and I'd sincerely appreciate it, as these tests always take a ton of time and preparation to put together. Alright, sorry for the shameless plug. Here's round number 4, the Hulu test. Last time we watched some Bob's Burgers, but lately I've been in a Rick and Morty mood. Spectacular show, by the way. I'm sure many other MacBook users binge content on their MacBooks, whether that's Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, or whatever your preferred streaming platform is. So after 180 minutes, or for those that are bad at math, that's 3 hours, we arrive at the following figures. Here, the M1 took a beating, but fared better than expected, as it now is well under half capacity at 45%. But what about its older cousin, the M2 Air? Well, it also dropped, but not as drastically, as it is above half capacity, officially coming in at 52%. That's quite impressive if you ask me, especially after these guys have been battling it out for close to 7 hours at this point. Alright, now moving on to Apple's extremely optimized Apple TV app. This test is similar to the streaming test, except that Apple's native apps are obviously expected to run more efficiently. It's kind of like the difference between using Safari and Chrome on MacBooks. At least from what I have experienced, most people prefer Chrome over Safari, even though Safari is better optimized and does preserve battery better. So just as before in the regular battery drain test, we cranked up Apple TV for half the time as a streaming test, and after 90 minutes, this is what we have. As we expected, Apple TV does run more efficiently, especially while in low power mode, as the M1 now drops to little under third capacity, officially now at 31%. While the M2 Air is now losing its lead ever so slightly, as it is now coming in at 37%. Still faring better than the M1 Air though. Are you surprised so far at the results? Were you expecting the M2 to perform better while on low power? Well, it's not over till it's over. Let's now head into the championship rounds. We're almost nearing the end, so let's run our gaming test. And normally I change up the game, but for consistency's sake, we once again run Asphalt 9, a pretty fun game I occasionally play here and there. I really want to get into other computer games, so if you have any other suggestions, comment them down below. Alright, so after 60 minutes of gameplay, how are our two combatants holding up? Well, not too well, at least the M1 isn't, as it now dropped into red territory, now falling below a fifth capacity, now at 16%. While the beefier M2 is right under a quarter capacity, officially coming in at 24%. And now to finish out our bout, we head into our 7th and final round, the classic YouTube test. Now mind you, it's important to note that the M1 Air, while not on low power mode from before's video, tapped out around this time, and the M1 Air with low power mode is still standing with plenty of battery to spare. I wonder just how much longer it's gonna last. So as usual, I crank up one of my playlists in a Chrome tab and have these two battle it out until the death. Not really, but you get the idea. Which one is gonna throw in the towel first? I think it's clear to see that the M1 would have to pull the craziest Hail Mary to take the crown. It's unlikely, but our focus here is on how much longer low power will take these as compared to regular usage without low power. It was starting to get late, I was about to call it, but I had to wait for both of these guys to power off. Thankfully, it wasn't too deep into the night when the M1 MacBook Air called it lights out, officially at 10 hours and 48 minutes. Boys and girls, let's give it up for the M1 Air for its spectacular performance. So, by default, that leaves just one MacBook standing, which means we have our winner. But of course, this was to be expected. Tech enthusiasts, the M2 MacBook Air threw in the towel, almost going an entire half day of continuous use while on low power mode, officially tapping out at 11 hours and 42 minutes. So okay, let's extrapolate these results with the results from the non-low power drain test, and as we can see, both roughly gained about an extra hour of usage respectively. Honestly, To tell you the truth, I was expecting the M2 to last much longer thanks to greater performance and efficiency that the M2 brings to the table. Now, of course, let's remember that these two machines have been in use and powered on for several hours straight. Everyone's use case will vary, but I at least hope this can help those deciding between the two to make a better, more informed decision. As I said, please give this video a thumbs up if it was of any value to you. Hit that subscribe button as there's a ton of content I have planned for y'all, especially with the upcoming Apple event. Also, this video was inspired through you guys' comments, so drop any video ideas down below. And well, there you have it, guys. Battery drain test on low power mode led to some pretty interesting results. I'm clocking out for now, but expect more of me in your subscription feed very soon. And with that, as always, take care, and I cannot wait to catch you all in my next video.